Hello, and welcome back to Creatively Curious podcast. Today I'm going to talk about feelings and what to do when you're noticing that you're maybe uncomfortable or anxious or sad, and what to do in that case. It prompted me to do this podcast when I was at the library with my son, who's 4, and there was another little boy who was there with his dad, and he was playing with the train set and my son was playing with the train set. And the other little boy, I'm not sure how old he was. He might have been about 3, maybe a little bit younger. And he was getting really frustrated with pieces of the train set, which I think were just kind of standalone trees. And he was getting frustrated. And his dad kept saying to him, "You're fine. You're fine." And he said, "You're playing with a train set. It shouldn't be this frustrating." And I just kind of like, oh, my heart hurt in that moment. Because, and not to shame this parent, we're all doing the best we can. And parenting is hard for sure. Um, but in that moment, he's basically saying to his son, "You shouldn't be feeling that way. Like, this response that you're having, that's a real response, you shouldn't be having, because you should be having fun. And this is the train set, and we're at the library, and blah, blah, blah." And I felt like speaking to the child myself, which obviously probably wouldn't be helpful in that moment. But, whenever, and again, I'm no expert, but I know that there are ways to go about that for ourselves, for our children, that are a little bit more helpful. And ultimately, I would like to promote the idea that there are no bad emotions, even though society tells us there are good emotions and bad emotions. There are no bad emotions or good emotions. They're just emotions. We're human beings, we're emotional beings. We will have the whole gamut of feelings. And what to do when you're having them. With my son or my daughter, I say things like, I name it. If I can name it, it looks like you're feeling frustrated. It's okay to feel that way. I get it. I feel that way too sometimes. Um, and there's a practice by Tara Brach, and she lists it in her book, Radical Compassion. And the tool is called RAIN. And she talks about this a lot. In For sure, this whole book is about that, and in her podcasts and her talks. And RAIN is a really simple way of allowing the thoughts and the feelings that you're having that may feel uncomfortable to you. And so RAIN is an acronym. The first letter is R, and that stands for recognize. So the first step would be recognizing what it is that you're feeling, what it is that you're thinking, any physical sensations, if you can name the emotion, if you can get clear on what the thoughts are. Sometimes I know for myself it's helpful to write those things out if you're able to do that. If you can't do that, it's just allowing the, I guess, the space and time to kind of just notice what it is that you're feeling and not judge it. And you listen in a kind, receptive way. The next letter in the acronym is A, of RAIN. And so you allow. So you allow whatever is happening with you to just be there. So you don't judge it, which is often what we do. And I am a little bit to blame for that too. If I'm having, some anxiety, some sadness, I kind of want to, the instinct is to push it away, because it doesn't feel good, or it doesn't feel ideal, but it's there for a reason. So can I be with this? That's a question you could ask. Allow whatever it is to be there. It is what it is. She mentions a few phrases that you could say: let it be, I consent, notice what is true, don't judge it or push it away. The next letter in the acronym RAIN is I, so you investigate. So what is really happening inside me? And that's where you can get into that somatic awareness. So physically, where in my body am I feeling this? What does it feel like? And that's a tool that I use for life coaching is we really get into like, does it have a color? How large is it? Temperature, really get into feeling it in your body as opposed to thinking about it in your mind. And then the next letter in the acronym is N, so nurture. Can I be with this with kindness? And as you sense what is needed, like what would be your natural response to support yourself in that moment, which I would say for me is a bit of a challenge because you want to just kind of push ahead and not really deal with it in a way. And one thing that helps me is actually writing to whatever it is that I'm feeling. So kind of taking Elizabeth Gilbert, she does letters to love. So she'll say, "Dear love, what would you have me know today?" Which is also a very valuable practice. If you haven't heard of that, I can try to link to something where she speaks to that. But it's literally as simple as that. You just take a pen out, you write to love, what would you have me know today? And so I took that idea of writing to love and I will write to any emotion that I'm having. Dear sadness, what would you have me know today? And sometimes that will lead to anger, sometimes that will lead to anxiety, will lead to other things, and I'll just keep writing when I have the time. If I don't have time in the moment, then I kind of just take note of that, like where am I feeling it in my body? Can I take some deep breaths? And then I might get to writing to it later. And it always generally has a pretty positive, supportive message. And I find that even those emotions we label as negative have messages for us and they're there to serve us. So some of the examples that Tara Brach uses for nurture is, can you give yourself a loving message? So that might be where like that idea of dear love might have a message for you. Can you send yourself like a tender embrace kind of in your mind, or even actually just, holding your arms and giving yourself that embrace in that moment? Can you imagine someone you trust, a teacher, a pet, holding you with love? So just really allowing whatever it is that's happening, giving it space and treating it with kindness and not being judgmental. So that would be my challenge to you going forward is, can you use this practice of RAIN? And if this seems too much or overwhelming, then reach out to, someone who is trusted, or a coach perhaps, where you could have that safe space for whatever it is that you're feeling and thinking. I do rely on my, my writing practice, journaling practice. I really was hesitant to be a journaler, and I don't kind of force myself to do that every day. But I know it's there for me when I need it or when I want it, and I really value that practice. So yeah, if you do go ahead and try this practice of RAIN, I'd love to know how you feel with doing it, how you felt afterwards. And yeah, I find it to be a really supportive way of allowing everything that's happening to us instead of kind of pushing away, judging. like I think we're kind of taught to from society. So that's all I have today. Take care.